time for us to go through the front pages of the newspaper. And with me is Titi Layo.
Thank you, We have quite a few papers this morning.
Yes, we actually do. But I'll be starting off, or we'll be starting off with the Vanguard newspaper.
Yeah.
Making the headlines here, 400 billion Naira oil production shortfall threatens 2024 budgets. And on the riders here, we have federal government tackling issues, says the presidency. And 2 MBPD production achievable, says Kiari. And Nigeria needs to attract contractors back, says IOCs. And just right under the rider, we have suspend Samoa agreement implementation. Reps tell federal government no clause for federal government to recognize LGBTQ rights, says NBA. And NPAN calls for release of abducted journalists. And also here we have hunger. Nigerians losing patience. Senate tells Tinubu. And let's go to the top of the paper here on scarcity. Fuel shortage, queues worsen in Lagos, Abuja, others. And so I'll just talk a little bit on the fuel scarcity because I kind of experienced that yesterday. So I didn't get wind of the gist that there was going to be scarcity on time.
Yeah.
But then I caught up on reports earlier in the day that,
it was possible,
the fuel scarcity in Abuja,
yeah.
and how a few fuel stations are selling at 750, 700 naira per liter, and given for me getting fuel yesterday was quite a challenge actually, but luckily. A few fuel stations that are still selling here in Lagos are selling with, between 628, between 628 to 650.
So sometimes whenever those murmurings begin, you begin to take them seriously when you see the queues.
Yeah.
And then the queues sometimes could just still be rumors. But then the next queue is when you see all the gates of the fuel stations closed till a certain time, etc., etc. But there is a lot happening. We've been hearing reports about, this situation being dealt with already. But before it trickles down to everyone, it seems like it's going to take a bit of time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully we'll be obviously monitoring these reports.
Yes, we will. And I know that yesterday I saw a report on the Nupeng and Pengasen. I think, asking the federal government, to wade in on the Dangote refinery issue, which, they feel or they think that's going to, sort of create some sort of stability in the fuel sector, but the petroleum industry. But, we'll see.
There's another headline here that's pops out. It says here, that there is a Ministry of Livestock Development. Now, beneath that, it says ministry can end herders, farmers clashes, banditry, Arewa Economic Forum, So it does seem like a very interesting development. All the details about what's going to go into this ministry and what this ministry is going to be dealing with also is something we need to really go through very well and find out more about. But it was announced late yesterday afternoon. So we're definitely monitoring that.
Yeah, we'll see more stories on it. So let's head over to the Punch newspaper and making the headlines here. Fuel crisis lingers as NNPC seeks fresh $2 billion crude-backed loan. On the rider here, NNPC in talks for another oil-backed loan to boost its finances, says Kiari. Oil firm wants new loan against 30,000 to 35,000 barrels per day of crude production. And right at the top of the paper, NEF demands grazing reserves as Tinubu plans livestock ministry. You touched on that earlier on, TT. And here on blackouts, NERC rolls out tough sanctions against discos. And 19 Nigerian airports not viable, says FAN. CT, let's, you want to touch on the next newspaper?
The next paper I have here is the Nation newspaper.
Okay.
It says here on minimum wage, Labour hopeful of better deal. We are in talks to ensure submission of bill soon, says TUC president. And then on the cover, we had him here last week, Ola Awakon, with the president and, of course, the president's son there. Of Tinubu relieves fond memories of mom at play presentation. We talked about the play about the president's mother, and I believe that happened yesterday. Very interesting, very interesting. We have beneath the masthead here how Emefiele moved millions to wife, according to a witness. Story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 2. FAN subsidizing 19 unviable airports, says CEO. Federal government gets Ministry of Livestock Development. Varsity workers protest over outstanding pay rocks campuses. And NPAN expresses concern over safety of Ala Belewe and Abdu on page 4. That's what we have on the cover of The Nation.
All right. I know we have time for just one more paper. Okay, we don't have any more time for the papers. And that's all we can take on the front page this morning. The show continues shortly, guys. Stay with us.